Hello, Nope Coach Fan Bam. It's your host, Suzanne Culberg, joined once again by Naomi Gora. We are chatting today about tooting your own horn. I can't say it without going toot toot.
How much toot is too much toot?
Yes, because I can't be the only one who has read a sales page, been super excited, jumped into a program and been like, what the fuck is this? So sometimes people do toot their own horn too much. And I think as a result, we can go to the opposite end of the cycle and not really want to toot our own horn at all because we don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. So I've spoken about this before. I don't think on this podcast, but anyhow, if I have, if you've heard the story before, here it is again. My very first course that I purchased as a client, like way back before I was in business for myself, was I went to one of these summits, the ones where you put your email address in and there's all these speakers and at the end they have a program that they're normally $1,000, but you can have it today for 97, the magical number. And it was a thing on cravings. And I laugh about this because I was telling on the previous episode how I created a course on cravings once. And anywho, bought this thing for $97, my first investment. For me at the time, it was a big deal because I'd never spent that money on myself before. So now I look at some of the spends I've had and I've been like, this was nothing. But anyway, I literally got a 1-page PDF document. That was it, like a 1-page. And I remember looking at going, what the fuck is this? Like, you tell me you've sold this for $1,000? Like, So I remember emailing and saying, I think something's gone wrong here. Like, this cravings course, and they're like, oh, that's okay, we'll send it again. And they sent me the exact same thing, a 1-pager PDF, like a friggin' with columns that you wrote your shit into and what time you ate and whatever. And I was like,
that's like a free opt-in.
Yeah. It was. Now down the track, I was like, this is like actually a piss poor freebie. But I was like, so I think sometimes we get jaded by other people, or another one that kind of irritates me personally. This is going to be Suzanne grievances with Suze.
What really grinds your gears?
If a course says it has a really active community, like a really active Facebook group or really active, and then I get in there as tumbleweeds. Like the only post is the welcome to me post. There's been nothing in the previous 12 months. And then it's just the host or the person trying to like come up on the fact that I'm here, and it's like, nobody's talked. This is not what I was expecting. So another one of mine is like an active community.
Like what you mentioned in the other episode that we were talking about is like, why do people say these things that are essentially catfishing when people are going to get in there and realize and be really disappointed? I mean, the idea is always to, under promise and over deliver. So it's sort of, it can't work out long term.
I remember one of these courses that I joined as a participant because my personal weight journey, I've written a whole book about it. The beginning is shit. But anyway, I had one of these, tumbleweed incidents where I got in there and I was the only one. And then they had a live coaching sessions. So I went along to those and I was the only one. I was like, where is everybody else? Like I saw there was a couple hundred people in the group, but nobody was active. So I honestly think now in hindsight, she's like, oh, I've had a sign up, got a couple of grand, better put this live round on. And it was okay. Like it wasn't that great. It was okay. And then she followed me on socials, and a couple of years later, when I dropped over 50 kilos, it was like, oh, I want to interview you. I want this, I want that. And it's like, it's funny how interested you are in me when I've had the result, but beforehand you didn't give two hoots. Speaking of, tooting and hooting now. So
oh, you're tooting and hooting. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. So Naomi, how do you recommend, or like your clients or people you work with, when you've had, because the feedback you spoke about on our previous episode that you received, we were talking about, just shipping it and how client feedback can help us with our sales pages and with our promises or with the things, because I wouldn't have thought to say that until a client had said to me. But then the fear of being like, well, what if everyone's going to expect that now?
Yeah, exactly. And I think like there's only so much we can be responsible for as business owners. We can be responsible for putting together the best thing that we think we can put together and being honest about how we communicate that. But we absolutely can't control the experience someone has in there. I mean, you don't know what somebody might have going on. They may not have the experience somebody else did because their partner's going through a really stressful time and they're just emotionally not able to engage in it. So there's so many or they just may not be ready. They may have other blocks in the way that means that they're just not ready to evolve or grow or whatever it is. And there's no way we can predict that. So I think the only thing that we can do is be honest. And like you said, your that testimonial that you got.
Oh yes, for anyone who didn't listen to the previous episode, my program's called Why Wait. It's $1,500 Australian at the time of this recording. I'm always upfront with pricing, but if you listen to this down the line, it may be more, and I'm not going to be held to a price, from however long ago. And anyway, this client had said to me when I spoke to her last week, she said that investment trumped her $26,000 HEX debt that she has from her university degree. She got more from a 10-week program than a 3-year degree. And I was just blown away by that. But then I think how I would word it, kind of answer my own question with tooting my own horn, I will put one person's experience or a client's experience. So I'm not guaranteeing that, hey, do this course and it's better than a uni degree. Because the other thing that came to mind is earlier today I was scrolling, as we do, see him scrolling, and somebody was talking about a masterclass they had, which piqued my interest. And what I loved about their landing page or their sales page, however you want to look at it, it says, you will likely walk away with. And I loved that. It paused me in my tracks because it's like, we can never guarantee. Because sometimes people will say, do this and you will. But as you said, they could have things going on externally. They could, we cannot guarantee. And there's the level of responsibility. And it's kind of like, you will likely, or it is possible, or not to say that you're not going to turn up and deliver what you promised, but your promise versus someone else's experience can never be guaranteed.
And I mean, and that's, I think, where the line is, and this is where testimonials are so important. I mean, you can put that up as a testimonial that person has said that has been their experience, but then, I wouldn't put that in your sales copy saying this course will be more valuable to you than, your university education. It's like, you can't then predict that experience, but you can, like, our customers are such amazing marketers for us. If you offer a great experience and your customers want to talk about that, well, then that's brilliant. Totally go for that. But then, and they say also, part of copywriting and marketing is to use your customers' words in your sales copy. But there's a line for that as well, isn't there? Like, I would use some of their words, like, it made me feel this way, but I wouldn't then translate it and turn it into a guarantee. So I think that's not to cross.
And I think it's so funny. I've got a great personal example. I'm just calling it up. So when I created this podcast, The Nope Coach, I am lazy or efficient, whichever way you want to look at it. And I asked it's raining. Bummer. Sorry, I've got washing on the line. I was going to say, pause. I don't pause my show. Washing, I have to redo it later. Anyway, I asked my website person, I was like, can you put the podcast on my website? And she's like, okay, I need a description. I'm like, yeah, no. Can you just kind of put it there with the header and like just the link to the show? And we had this back and forth, and she's like, I can't do that, Suze. You can't have something there without a description. Anyway, what she did was I put the show out, and within a couple of days, I'd already had testimonials like Apple reviews. So if you go to my website now, well, depending on when you listen to this, but as it stands at the time of recording, Suzanne Culberg, and you click on podcasts, it's got the Nope Coach with Suzanne Culberg, which is what I wanted, and the image. But what she's done is she's picked one of the testimonials and put that there. So the literal description for my podcast is bite-sized chunks of wisdom and relatable chat, perfect for the drive to work, morning walk, or that 10 minutes of me time. Easy to digest and may just change your perspective for the whole day. Give it some space in your podcast library. And like, as you said, our clients done the marketing for me. I was like, that's brilliant. Thank you so much. There's a description of my show. Done.
Exactly. And then you don't have to say anything. You're not tooting any horn. The more we can use our customers, or not use our customers, but involve our customers in that experience with us, that if they had a great experience and their words are so powerful, that if they're happy for us to do that, then the proof is in the pudding. You don't have to toot any horns.
Yes, but it's also too, like, so this podcast now has, I think, 50 reviews. People are like, how did you get so many? I asked. So I think sometimes we hope, what's that song? Wishing and hoping. I'm showing my age.
Hope and pray. This is the
And
hope
it's
and
like,
pray thing.
it's like you can ask, they can say no. They don't have to. And I personally, everyone does it differently. I didn't do it with a giveaway or a prize or go into the draw to win or whatever. I was just like, if you like the show, can you leave a review, because it helps me get it out in front of more people.
Yep.
So
that's it. There is nothing wrong. Yeah, there's absolutely nothing wrong with asking. But they can happily not do that, or whatever. But we have to. If you don't ask, you don't get.
exactly. And also too, the negative reviews, or the ones that aren't, it's favorable, you can also use those as well. You're from Tassie. I went to Tassie recently, and when I was in the airport, there's a picture for Mona. So for anyone listening, it's a museum of new and
old art.
Yeah. Have you seen the poster I'm talking about?
Was that the one that it's like, I went to I had such a shit time or something?
I took a photo of it. I have to see if I can find it, because I was just like, I laughed so hard. I didn't go that long ago, so I'm sure it's not that far back. It was pure gold.
Their advertising, hilarious.
I totally loved it. And I was like, this is great. Oh, where is it? There's my kid having a tantrum. So there's that photo,
It's basically saying, don't come here, it's crap, essentially.
Oh, here it is. I've got it. Okay. It's a 1 star. It's like, I paid to watch a machine take a dump. The joke's on me. Yeah. And the person's name. And I'm like, so you could look at that and be like, okay, what is this? I need to go and see it, or I won't. But you can use something that someone else really disliked, and I can think of lots of examples. The recent Barbie movie, Oppenheimer, all sorts of things where you can take things and there's this guy I follow called Father Nathan Monk. I think that's his name on Facebook. He's written a couple of books, and what he does when he gets a 1-star review is he writes a review of the review. That's and then he just screenshots it, and I'm like, you can toot your own horn in a way that's a little cheeky, a little sassy, but it's not putting anyone down. No. But yeah,
you can use anything. I mean, that's the same as the feedback that I had from my recent round of the Hamster Cure course. When people first told me it was eye-opening and confronting, I was like, oh, that's really bad. That's not what I expect. It wasn't what I expected. But when I looked at it, I was like, actually, that could be really useful. That's quite cool. Not every business course is eye-opening and confronting. It's not hard necessarily, but it'll make you look at yourself and reevaluate success and priorities and all those sorts of things. So I could have gone, oh, that's really bad, or I could have reframed it and used it in a different way. So
and if going in that it's going to be confronting, I think sometimes like, what is it, forewarned is forearmed. Like if you bought the Hamster Cure expecting it to be one of these fluffy things, and what does the client want, and Sally Sue is 27 years old and she lives on a yacht and her favorite color is pink, and like, because a lot of the courses are like that, and then you're like, well, what do you like to do and what lights you up? I don't know.
Don't make me reevaluate my whole life and have an existential crisis. Yeah, but that's it. Like you said before as well with Brene, clear is kind. As long as, and I think that's such an important lesson in business as well, is setting expectations, which is a whole other podcast. But the more you can set expectations for people and they know what's coming, then the better experience everybody is going to have.
100%. Well, thank you much. Thank you so much. Thank you muchly. When I try and say 2 things at once, for joining me again, Naomi. Just remind the listeners what it is you do and where they can find you.
Thanks. That's so my business is Brand Whisperers. You can head to brandwhisperers.com.au and do my free business personality quiz. I also do one-on-one branding experiences, and my course is the Hamster Cure, which you can find on brandwhisperers.com.au.
I love that so much. Well, thank you, everyone. I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.
Thanks.